So yeah, this is it's becoming a regular occurrence now. A lot of these things that are happening in the media, with a lot of these big figures, right, or public figures, getting indicted, or some sorts of investigation is coming down on them. Um, and I'm gonna start off by saying this, right? So I don't know Mayor Adam. I don't know anything. I don't know much about Mayor Adam. I do know that he's the mayor of New York, but I don't think Mayor Adams sort of invented corruption in New York, right? I think corruption in New York has been going on for a while. I think Mayor Adams being who he is, I think that also has a lot to do with why he's being indicted. But I will say this as well. There were a lot of very shady figures around Mayor Adams, right? Um, there was this one pastor as well, guys. Remember, I was kind of talking to you guys about that. There was this one pastor, um, this Brooklyn pastor. Let me see if I can find that pastor. Right. So this one pastor, he kept on. It's like he kept on talking about Mayor Adams, and he kept on tying himself to Mayor Adams. He ended up getting like 9 years, for a lot of things that he was doing as well. Um, but that pastor, from my understanding, kept on dropping Mayor Adams' name, kept on saying like Mayor Adams, alluding to him being like his was it role model or like his mentor, right? Kept on alluding to that sort of stuff. And you know, he ended up getting booked and got 9 years. But he's a pastor in a church, guys, might I add, and he was using the church to actually solicit what I want to say solicit. He was getting funds from people, right? And he wasn't paying these people back, right? So what's the name of this it's a bishop, actually. Bishop Lamar Miller Whitehead, right? So this is the picture of the guy. I had heard something about this situation. This is the picture of the guy. This is the news source as well. Sorry about that. That's what he looks like, right? Remember I was telling you guys about this last night. So ever since I kind of heard about this pastor, it's kind of like alarm bells kind of went up, like about Mayor Adams and the things that may be going on behind the scenes. And my main thing is this, right? You got to understand this, right? So evidently, from listening to what had transpired, all of this stuff didn't start while Mayor Adams was in the office as the mayor. When he was the borough president in Brooklyn, right? There was a lot of things that was going on back then as well. So allegedly, these things were also going on while he was the borough president in Brooklyn. And I kind of listened to something this morning. They were talking about, trips to different countries, trips to like China, paid for by the Turkish, trips to like Ghana and all of these things. And, he evidently what happened was now he kind of used their funds for campaigning, right? However they go about doing that stuff. We all know that how the political structure is set up, you need some campaign funds, right? I appreciate it, Jacob. Thank you so much. But when you start going to external governments for them to kind of influence what it is that you're doing, it gets beyond tricky, right? Because it's sort of like you could kind of liken that to, okay, all right, cool. You're in a relationship with someone, right? But at the same time, while you're in a relationship with someone, your spouse, let's say your spouse, whoever you're married to, you're in a relationship with that person, and behind your back, It's like they're being flown out by other people and, flown out by other people and having fun with them and, like just various different things that, you know what I mean, would kind of make you go, right? So figuratively, it's almost like he was in bed with the Turkish government, right? Figuratively, right? We're not gonna, allegedly, right? So that kind of makes it a very tricky. Now, if you're a regular person and, you're doing business with international governments or whatever it is, or that in itself is also tricky, right? If you're a U.S. citizen and you're doing business with the government of other countries, especially countries that are not sort of like aligned with the USA, it gets very, very tricky, right? So I think Mayor Adams should have known better in that regard. But I don't think Mayor Adams invented corruption. And he didn't invent this, somebody says opinion on Germany. I don't really know. Seems like a nice place. But especially at this level, right? You're now the mayor of New York City. As the mayor of New York City, this is the most populated city in America. This is what a lot of people would deem the greatest city in America. Especially now, you're a black person that's the mayor of this city. There's already a whole bunch of eyes on you. They're already watching everything that it is that you do, right? But a lot of times when people get to amass this level of power, their ego starts to lead them, right? They start to think that they're untouchable. They stop paying attention to the things that they should be paying attention to. So I think Mayor Adams, if these allegations are true, again, is a victim of his own ego. Because a lot of these things aren't needed, right? These things aren't necessary. Like, business class trips to this place and that place, and, you don't have to pay for it. Like, these things are like 10 grand, 20 grand, all this extravagant amount of money to go fly in a plane and go somewhere, right? And you're having the government of a different country pay for it. Yes, that's suspicious. No matter what way you swing it, that's hella suspicious. So then I heard this other thing as well, that there was this permit, not a permit. Okay. Let me try to remember what exactly happened. So evidently there was like an embassy or something, right? And I believe the embassy is like in Midtown or maybe downtown or Midtown. I forgot which one it was. But anyway, it's Manhattan. So the embassy that's in Manhattan, they're supposed to acquire some sort of, I guess, fire permit or something along those lines, right? It has to be inspected by the fire department to make sure that, the place is safe or whatever it is. But anyway, Mayor Adams made sure that he pushed it through so that they were clear, right? Without them being properly inspected. So all of these just indicate that, yes, he's in close ties with the foreign government. He was taking money from this foreign government. And basically what it seems like, and ordinarily I would come up here and defend the guy, right? Or I would come up here and try to find an excuse for him. I can't find too many excuses for him because of the people that are around him as well. It's already shown, birds of a feather. Like, you put these people in a position, right? 9 times out of 10. And not only that, especially the pastor, that's when the red flag started to go up. That's when I started kind of looking at it like, why does this pastor keep talking about Mayor Adams? And why does this pastor call Mayor Adams, especially this pastor that's stealing people's money, call Mayor Adams his mentor? Then there's something into that, right? So I didn't look too deep into it because I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to believe that he was just using the guy's name. But at the same time, it's kind of like, man, well, you know what? Especially with all the indictments of people that's happening around him and people stepping down and all of that sort of stuff, it's like, yeah, there's something happening here. And I think when people were calling for him to step down, he probably looked at it like, man, if I step down, then this is an admission of guilt, right? If I step down, then you understand what I'm saying? So he was kind of looking at it from that angle, like, yo, if he steps down, then he's basically saying, yeah, you guys are right, right? So I think that's the biggest reason why he didn't want to step down. But now, New York City's in a dilemma because he ain't gonna be mayor for too long, right? He's not gonna be mayor for too long. I don't know how long. I don't think he's gonna be mayor by the end of the year, right? We don't have that many months left in the year. But yeah, it's quite unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. So yeah, it's quite unfortunate because yeah, a lot of times guys, you know, especially again, right? I don't want to make race the focal point, but you being a black guy going into being the mayor of this city of New York, there's already people that don't want you to be the mayor of this city of New York. There's already people that don't like the fact that it's you that's the mayor of the city of New York. Now, when you get there, this is what you do, right? So how can I possibly sympathize for you? Because now you made it harder for the next person that looks like you to get in a position to do these things, right? So I can't sympathize with you because, yeah, you didn't think about nobody else. You thought about yourself. You didn't think about the people in the city of New York. You thought about yourself. And when you're an elected official, right, you can't think about yourself. It's not about you anymore. It's about the people. You understand what I'm saying? 100% about the people. But again, this guy didn't invent corruption. He's not the first corrupt public official. He's just sloppy, number one. Number two, it's very difficult for you to do things in this day and age, right? And to do it, especially out in the open like this, especially with the money trail and everything like that, and not have some red flags go up and not get caught. So it's one of those things, guys. You know, I don't know, man. I just can't. I don't. He weren't thinking about the people of the city of New York, and I think a lot of the people that he was around, a lot of the people that he put in a position of power, they also were doing corrupt stuff, right? There. It seems like there was a whole ring of them doing this sort of stuff. So I can't sympathize for him. I can't sympathize for them because you guys are public officials. Not only should you know better, but you should be doing better. These are the same people that were putting people away, right? You can't have criminals prosecuting and putting other people away. You can't have criminals running the city. We just can't have that happening. So you understand what I'm saying? It's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those. If there weren't so much evidence of things happening around him, right, I probably would be like, man, you know, the media probably has it wrong or this, that, or the third. But I simply can't. I can't sit up here and defend him. I can't. I simply can't. As bad as I want to, I cannot. When you look at it from the flip side, all right, there's no allegations of him hurting anyone. There's no allegations of him doing something physically to harm someone. But at the same time, it's like, you can't be trusted. You can't be trusted. No one around you could be trusted. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like this one big criminal ring, which is, it's rather unfortunate, man. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't know what this guy is talking about. Yeah. Greek, pay your debt, says Watcher TV. What do I owe you? Man, you got to stop that, bro. I got to get you off this channel. Yeah. I got to get you off this channel. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is you're talking about. Sup, mate? Seen you last week. Wish you a good day from Australia. Big up yourself. Thank you so much. Nevaeh in disguise. Is it Nevaeh Rhodes in disguise? If so, hello, Nevaeh. Hello, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah, I'm just tapping in, talking about Mayor Adams. We're probably going to make this kind of quick. But yeah, the indictment has been unsealed, so... But before we get into the indictment, right, I kind of want to read this thing about the mayor. So Brooklyn pastor, this is from AP News, and this is sometime this year, right? Brooklyn preacher who boasted of ties to New York City mayor gets 9 years in prison. So this is the preacher that I was telling you guys about last night. So his name is Lamar Miller Whitehead, right? So a flashy Brooklyn preacher who has played up connections to New York City's mayor was sentenced Monday to 9 years in prison. Lamar Miller Whitehead, 45, of Paramus, New Jersey, was sentenced in Manhattan federal court by Judge Lorna G. Schofield, who says she didn't see meaningful remorse for the Rolls-Royce driving bishop convicted of fleecing one parishioner out of $90,000 in retirement savings, among other scams. So I think that person was this one lady, this older lady that he scammed out of this money. In a rambling statement, Miller Whitehead claimed he was very remorseful, but boasted of his good deeds for his community and expressed regret about his trial, prompting the judge to interrupt him with a reminder that sentencing isn't time to relitigate the case. Okay. The jury heard the evidence. The jury rendered its verdict, she said. In March, a jury convicted Miller Whitehead of all charges, including wire fraud, attempted extortion, and making false statements. Schofield said the preacher committed perjury when he testified. So this is the preacher that I was telling you guys about. The one that was tied to Mayor Adams. Right? So I think red flags for me started to go up with that preacher. That's when it wasn't at his conviction. It was when I started to hear about the situations that were kind of surrounding him. Owen, what's up, Brody? Big up, Owen. Big up, man. It's been a little minute, bro. Big up yourself. But yeah, so, you know, it's embarrassing, man. It's really embarrassing. I'm going to be honest with you. For the city, not for not for me individually, because I kind of already know a thing or two about a lot of these politicians. But yeah, he seems like a real honest guy. He looked like a real honest guy, but he wasn't. You know what I mean? It's just that big. Big love from India, brother. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Sinner. Appreciate that. Hello from Iran, says Mohammed Solati. Big up to Iran and big up to India. So anyway, asked about the sentence during an unrelated news briefing Monday, Adams said, so this is Adams responding to what was said, right? Bishop Whitehead is in my prayers and I wish the best for him. So he's wishing the best for the bishop, who was kind of dropping his name and talking up his relationship with him. Miller Whitehead became a religious figure in 2013 when he formed the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries. He also known to wear designer clothing and was once the victim of a robbery when $1 million in jewelry was stolen from him by gunmen who surprised him during a church service. I do remember that happening as well, when he was kind of robbed by some gunmen. I don't know if his jewelry was exactly $1 million. I think that's some sort of insurance claim. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, right? But if you got $1 million in jewelry, I don't see why you need to try to defraud old ladies out of $90,000. I just don't understand that. Although he preached primarily in Brooklyn, he owned a $1.6 million home in Paramus, New Jersey, and an apartment in Hartford, Connecticut. Assistant U.S. Attorney Derek Wickstrom requested a sentence of over 12 years in prison, saying Miller Whitehead had defrauded large financial institutions as well as parishioner who lost her savings. He didn't discriminate. He defrauded everyone. Miller Whitehead, Witkins said, lied and stole over and over again. He can't stop stealing. He won't stop lying, the prosecutor said. this is who the defendant is. So this is again, guys, this is a religious leader, a religious figure. This is somebody who's in the church. And this is somebody with close ties to Mayor Adams. So this is why it's difficult for me to have any kind of sympathy for Mayor Adams. As much as you kind of look at it like, hey, listen, this is a black guy. He's a mayor of New York City. He's no different from other politicians, right? It's just that he was sloppy and he ended up getting caught, right? And of course, he tried to do what his colleague did, right? To try to be like, oh yeah, you know, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And of course, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I have evidence. I don't have the evidence in front of me. But the fact that this preacher right here, and I'm kind of a birds of a feather type of guy. Like you're around this preacher, this pastor, right? This religious leader, and he's over here defrauding people in his church. And you guys are like this, according to this preacher, right? And then you're saying your prayers are with him. So this is obviously someone that is your friend. Like, you don't deny knowing this guy. So if a preacher is willing to do this to people in his church, then the New York City mayor, who's his friend, right, who was his mentor, according to this preacher right here, saying that Mayor Adams is actually his mentor, right? What is he mentoring you to do? And so that's a birds of a feather sort of thing. So ever since I heard about that, it's like, man, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just can't, man. I just can't. Like, you're defrauding old ladies out of their life savings, right? And then this guy, Mayor Adams, like, he's just in bed with a government official, in bed with foreign government. Like, you're a government official. You understand what I'm saying? And then it's like you're giving favor to people from, you know, to external government, right? In your city, right? So besides the prison term, Whitehead was also ordered to pay $85,000 in restitution to forfeit $95,000. His lawyer, Dawn Florio, had urged no prison time, citing her client's charitable works and saying, you can't ignore all he's done for the community. If not for those good works, the judge said, Miller Whitehead's prison sentence will have been longer. So she's saying that she would have gave him even more time if he hadn't done certain good things. Now, I'm not here to sabotage or try to assassinate anyone's character. Like, I'm not in a position to do that, right? Nobody's perfect. There's no one that's perfect among us, right? It's just that simple. Hold on, let me see if I can get back onto this Wi-Fi, right? There's nobody that's perfect among us. There's absolutely no one that is perfect, right? And I'm not here to try to get the mayor to be perfect. I'm not here to get people around the mayor to be perfect. But certain things, when I look at these things, I'm like, yo, so you mean to tell me that, bro, you're a pastor and you're defrauding members of your own church, right? So you're using this religion, you're using God to get close to these people, to get these people to trust you, right? And then what do? You stab them right in the back, right? And that's one of the biggest reasons why I don't subscribe to any religion. I don't subscribe to them, right? Because I know it's really 9 times out of 10, it's the blind leading the blind, right? The blind leading the blind. And then when they look across and they see that you're stupid, right? And I don't want to call these people stupid, but that's in their mind, that's what they see. In their mind, oh, this person's stupid. Let me go ahead and take their money from them, right? And you're willingly giving these people the things that you worked hard for your entire life, right? Because they say you're going to be blessed. And I'm all for people being charitable and people giving what they can afford to give, people helping one another. But there's a line that you draw. And when you have an inkling, or when you start picking up that people are trying to manipulate you, that's because they probably are trying to manipulate you, right? Your intuition is telling you, oh, there's something about this guy. There's something about this guy, but you're not following your intuition. You're just blindly, oh, here, take the money that I've been working for my entire life, that I've been saving up for my entire life. Here, take it, right? Because you're a man of God, quote unquote. Stop putting people on a pedestal. I don't care if they're the mayor. I don't care if they're the president, right? They're human beings. People are going to be people, right? Doesn't matter what title they have in life. People are going to be people. So if you're a person, especially if you're a person that has certain character, right? If you're a person that has a moral compass, just know that everybody doesn't have a moral compass, right? And a lot of times when you do see people and they're moving a certain type of way and you kind of pick up on something, trust your intuition. And I mean, that goes for absolutely every single person, right? Because human beings can tend to do some very devious things. So you got to cross your T's and you got to dot your I's. Mayor Adams, can't sit up here and say I sympathize for you, man. Because Mayor Adams, you let the city of New York down. You let the black community down because you're the first black mayor of New York City. Huh. Wow. What happened with the first mayor that was black that was a New York City mayor? Oh, you know, he got indicted, right? He got indicted. He was actually the first mayor to get indicted, right? So you let down New York City. You let down the black community in New York City. You let yourself down. And it's sad, right? Because you went up there, you didn't go up because you wanted to be a mayor for the people of New York. You wanted to be a mayor for your pocket, right? You wanted to be a mayor for your pocket. So the salary that you were getting by being the mayor wasn't enough, right? The power that you were getting as a mayor, that wasn't enough, right? You wanted more. And you try to cover your trails. And you got up there and you did what your pastor friend did, right? You got up there and you lied to people, right? So while you were somewhat doing a lot of the things that the pastor was doing, your mentee, right? However that term goes, right? The guy that you were mentoring, what he was doing, I guess somebody had to teach him how to do what he was doing. And if you're his mentor, he learned it from somebody, right? So what he did to the church, you did to New York City. What he did to his religion and his congregation, you did to New York City. And it wasn't just the mayor. It was the other people that he put in a position as well, right? That had to step down and, you know, this, that, and the third started to happen to these people, right? So I went to Chicago, beautiful city over there in Chicago. I went over there to Cleveland, beautiful city over there to Cleveland. I come back to New York, the first thing that I notice of any sort of, you know, value, for lack of a better term, right, was that the mayor got indicted, right? And without the evidence of everything that was happening around the mayor, I would kind of get up here and I'd be like, man, are you guys sure? I'm not sure. Maybe we're reading into it wrong. I would try to give you the benefit of the doubt. I honestly would. Can't give you the benefit of the doubt. Can't do it. Absolutely cannot do it. Let's see what some of the messages are saying. Oh, and I'm okay, just tired, to be honest. Oh, I think he's talking to Sarah. Okay, big love from India. I love the way that you pronounce my name. Big up yourself. O.J. Simpson wrote a book called If I Did It. Puff Daddy is going to write a book called If Kim Porter Was Right. What does that even mean? Okay. Okay, I sort of read into what it is that you're saying. The O.J. situation, though, I don't entirely know. A lot of people do say that he was guilty. public opinion believes that he was guilty. I don't particularly know with the OJ situation. And I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I know. When that trial was going on, I was probably like 4, 5, 6, single digits, right? So yeah, I don't really know too much about the OJ situation. I don't know if he did it or not. Diddy, I think some of what Diddy did, I think some of it is true. I think some of it may or may not be true. But I look at Diddy and I look at Vince McMahon's situation, and I see the parallels between Diddy and Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon did basically the same stuff that Diddy did, except he was actually defecating on people, right? I don't know how else to really say that, right? He was actually doing that to people on a regular basis. And he also paid some money to a female that had allegations against him as well. That's Diddy's situation. I mean, Diddy and Vince McMahon's situation, right? But I don't understand. I don't quite understand how Diddy and Vince McMahon sort of had the same charges. But is there something that I'm missing? Why Vince McMahon wasn't charged the same way that Diddy was charged? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I am. Who knows, right? But at the same time, I don't know, man. I think a lot of these people, once they do get in a position of power and they do feel like they have power over people, it really starts to get to their head. And I just don't understand why. I don't understand why that is. Why do you lose yourself? Why do you lose your humanity just because you have a few more dollars? Or just because, people, for lack of a better term, care who you are, right? I don't think people should lose themselves just because other people kind of recognize them, right? So Diddy and Vince McMahon, Epstein, Weinstein, all of these guys are in the same category. Trump is probably in that category too, allegedly, right? Allegedly, right? We're going to use that term allegedly right now. But yeah, man. Yeah, Adams isn't as quite as extreme as those guys are. But at the same time, Adam did what the guy that called him his mentor did. He basically got up there and, manipulated everyone. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't invent corruption. He's not the first corrupt official, but he will go down as the first one to get federally indicted as a New York City mayor. Yeah, Owen's been talking to me on Instagram a bit as well. Yeah, he's right about that. The beard's coming back, man. Yeah, the beard doesn't stay away for a long time, man. That's why sometimes I just get tired of it and not shave it. But who knows? This time I may or may not grow it all the way back. Who knows? But thank you so much for noticing, Brody. Big up yourself, Owen. It's always a pleasure to see you, my guy. Sarah says, I don't trust public figures anymore, to be honest. It's very difficult to really trust them, to be honest with you. I know you guys see me. I'm here campaigning for Harris, right? There's reasons why I'm campaigning for Harris. I'm not going to say she's perfect. I'm not going to say any politician's perfect. But when I look on the other side and I do see Trump, it's like there's no possible way I could sit up here and really root for that guy. That guy is very divisive. I don't think I think he sort of has this flair about himself where he cares about himself more than, he talks about himself more than he talks about other things, important things, right? I think he's really full of himself. I think he's very divisive. I think he appeals a lot to people's ego. He appeals a lot to people's fears. He appeals a lot to things that people, the low vibrational aspect of people. And he's done a lot of things allegedly that are criminal. And he was close, not even allegedly, he said it out of his mouth, that Diddy's his friend. That him and Diddy are really good friends, right? You guys can go look it up. And he was also really good friends with, what's the other guy? Epstein. for 30 years, right? He did business with Vince McMahon, right? And I can't blame him for doing business or knowing people, right? That doesn't make him guilty. But he also has a past of doing some shady stuff as well, right? Kamala Harris, for me, breath of fresh air. Kamala Harris, for me, is not certainly nowhere near the level of corruption that the other guy is. So for me, I think Kamala Harris is absolutely the better choice. For me. I think what she represents, I think she brings people together. I don't think she's she's not divisive at all. I think she's more about unity. And that's what you need in the United States, right? You need people that are united, right? Not divided. I think Trump wants to divide the states. I think he wants to divide and conquer. You know, so yeah, to be completely honest with you, I wouldn't sit up here and try to campaign for Trump or vote for Trump or any of that sort of stuff. Not a fan of the guy. But yeah, as far as public figures go, it's very difficult to really trust a lot of these public figures, and it's not necessarily just them, right? I think the culture of being a public figure or a politician or any of these people that have somewhat amassed some level of power, I think the culture of sort of that level of notoriety and sort of rubbing shoulders with other people that are quote unquote like-minded, I think it kind of forces you to adapt, right? So it's like you have to adapt. Like I think a lot of people do want to get into office. I think a lot of people do want to get into these places, and they want to make changes. They want to do big things, right? However, once you get involved or get into the politics, right? Sorry about that. You have to adapt, right? So a lot of people have to adapt. It's about getting down or laying down. You understand what I'm saying? So the people before them were corrupt. So the process kind of continues, right? So I think that's one of the biggest reasons, because I think a lot of people, especially some of these kids, they want to grow up ooh, I want to be president. Ooh, when I become the mayor, ooh, when I become the president, I'm going to make this, and this changes. But they don't realize that there's a culture way before you've been there, that in order to even become the president, you have to adapt to this culture, right? So I think we have like an outsider's perspective on a lot of these offices, a lot of these positions, and we don't really know the ins and outs. So because we don't really know the ins and outs, we might think in our mind we're going to go there and we're going to change the culture. That's not how it works, right? And if you are going to make any changes, it has to be something that's done gradually. You can't just go in there and just completely just overhaul and flip everything upside down, right? And the individuals that are already, you're already going to be outnumbered, because these people have been doing it this way for centuries. Now here you come wanting to make some changes, right? So I think that's the difficult part, that the obstacle, the hurdle that a lot of people have to get over in order to make some actual changes, right? And Mayor Adams, in and of itself, him being who he is, he should have known they was watching his ass, right? More than they were watching anyone else. You're already pissing a lot of people off because of how you look. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the reality of the situation, right? We all know, as far as I'm concerned, and the way how I look at life, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, period. Doesn't matter what the person looks like on the outside. Doesn't matter what race the person is. However, especially in America, and I told you guys about this before, my grandfather was a very light-skinned black man, right? Very, very light-skinned, incredibly light-skinned, right? If you didn't see his hair, or if you didn't, you'd probably think he was white, right? But I grew up knowing that this was my grandfather, right? This is my father's father, right? This is what it is. So I didn't grow up seeing him discriminating against us because we were darker than him. I grew up seeing my grandfather treated us with love. It was affection. He was there for us. Not only was he here for us, he was here for everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody in the neighborhood loved my grandfather. Rest in peace to Frederick Harris. His memory will always live on, right? It wasn't until I moved to Florida that I really started to see how race mattered so much in this country, right? And everything was about black or white or this or that, or you understand what I'm saying? It wasn't about people, right? So, you know, I kind of just look at people like they're people because, hey, look at my family. Like, we're all different types of shades. My whole entire family, right? Especially on my grandfather's side. So I didn't look at people the same way that everyone else looked at people. But then I started to see, oh, people are kind of conditioned this way. So maybe I have to adapt to as well, right? But then the older I get, I start realizing how stupid it actually really is. Because at the end of the day, we're all just spiritual beings having a human experience. No matter what the person looks like on the outside. No matter what they look like on the outside, that's not what you judge them by, right? You can have more in common with someone that is from Asia than you do with the very people that are of the same race, from the same city, went to the same schools, right? So don't disqualify that, right? Don't disqualify that and replace that with some sort of Minutemen perspective or some racist perspective. But in the case of Mayor Adams, he should have known. This is America. They're already looking at your ass because a lot of people don't want to see you in that position. A lot of people with their conditioning don't think you should really be in that position. So what do? You do everything by the book. Period, point blank. Because you're not just doing it for yourself, Mayor. You're doing it for the future generations as well, right? You're breaking down barriers by doing things the right way. But you decide you were going to go in there and you were just going to do things your way. You were going to do things just like everyone else was doing it, right? Except now you want to get in bed with the foreign government. And again, imagine you having a spouse, right? Whatever your spouse is, and your spouse is now taking trips paid for by someone either some random dude, right? Or, pardon me, either some random dude or someone that you're not exactly friends with. How would you feel about that? Right? So Mayor Adams, man, you betrayed the people of New York, Brody. Right? Allegedly, you betrayed the people of New York. Right? But kind of looking at the people that are around you, bro, it seemed as if this was just a big ring of people just doing all type of devious stuff. But again, he ain't the first. So there is that. He ain't the first crooked politician. He ain't the first crooked politician in the office of mayor of New York. Right? But he really let New York down. The very rich always owns more than 2 or 3 properties. The more they have, the more they lose in court, says Barbara. In regards to what? I'm not understanding. Back in the 80s, we had a mayor buried in Washington, D.C. He got busted with hookers in a room. Yeah, I do remember hearing about something. I think it was the other C word. I think it was more the process. That thing that you said, I think it was more the process one that he was found with, right? I don't think it was that form. I think it was the other one. The best mayor of NYC was Rudy Giuliani, says Cheryl S. But hey, look at Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani, actually, didn't he get indicted as well? So this is who people say is the best mayor in New York City history. Now, Rudy Giuliani was Italian. He did go after the mob. He was kind of tough on crime. But some of the stop and frisk laws that he kind of implemented, it really affected people that were not doing crime. And hold on. Yeah, Giuliani was indicted. So if you want to say he was the best mayor in New York City, maybe, right? Maybe that's true. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, he also was indicted as well. Religion is manipulation, says Sarah. They're only sorry if they get caught. I don't think he's ever gonna admit guilt. That's the thing. I don't think Mayor Adams is ever gonna say he did anything wrong. I think he's one of those characters, right? Yeah, you do have characters like that. I've dealt with people like that in my life. I've dealt with people that do some of the most devious things. Don't care what it is they do. They'll lie. They'll manipulate other people that don't know you, and they'll try to turn other people against you, and they'll just lie and lie and lie and lie. When you point out the stuff that they did and what they're actually doing, they're going to pretend like you're crazy, and they're going to pretend like they didn't do anything wrong. And there are people like that that live in this world, guys, period, point blank. And Adams seems as if he's one of those people as well. So I don't ever think he's ever going to apologize. I don't see that happening. Certainly no time soon. I could be wrong. I just don't see it happening. You know what I mean? I just don't. Trump is the poster boy for not being accountable for anything, right? Trump is of that same cloth as well. I think Trump actually made the cloth, right? Of being that type of person that's never going to accept accountability. So yeah, Adams, Trump, those two guys are very similar in that regard. But I think Trump really takes the cake when it comes to that. What did he do? Mayors mean nothing in England, says Owen. What changed your mind or perspective on Chicago? I seen you said that, bro. So Chicago, let me tell you, Owen. So my perspective on Chicago is that Chicago, I used to always tell myself, not always, right? But especially in recent years, that I would never go to Chicago because the gang violence and all of the violence that's in Chicago is just so crazy, right? So I'm like, I'd never go to Chicago. It seems as if all they do is just bust at each other and, you know, argue and just do this and just do that. Just dumb stuff, right? But having gone out of my comfort zone and deciding that I wanted to go see what Chicago was like and going there, but even though I was just downtown, I kind of went in some of these alternative hoods or some of these hoods, but the majority of the time I was downtown in Chicago. It just really changed my perspective on Chicago because I saw a city, especially the places where I was at, is very clean. I spoke to some very nice people. And I didn't see a whole lot of the BS that was going on when I was in Chicago. So I guess this image that I had in my head about what Chicago was and what the reality was of what I experienced while I was in Chicago are just two completely different things. So, and of course, you're not going to, based on a day or two or a couple hours or whatever it is, going to be able to completely absorb the whole entire culture. But at the same time, when I was there, I didn't experience anything negative. I didn't experience anything bad, right? The only thing that I did saw was this little this kid that was, I spoke about it already last night, that was kind of stomping the ground, looking around for attention, and you know what I mean, you know, and was kind of yelling some profanities out of his mouth, but not even really yelling, just kind of motioning this profanity, and that kind of puzzled me a little bit. But you know, it's just one of those things. But yeah, for the most part, greatness does not mean goodness, says Felicia Patterson. Okay. Do a daily stream at this time so I can stop in work and nights or weekends. Yeah, I'm going to try, bro. I'm going to try. So I'm actually at work right now. I'm I'm going to go in probably like 10 minutes or so, 10, 11 minutes. I'm going to get back to work and do my thing. But yeah, now that I'm back working, I'm not on vacation anymore. I am going to be streaming more frequently. What was I going to say? Yeah, until I meet that actual goal, what I'm doing with YouTube, and then I'll start kind of scaling down and maybe not stream as often, but maybe find like a designated time where I could, or certain designated times where I can be like, all right, cool, I'm going to stream this day at this time. So yeah, as time progresses, we'll figure that out. But thank you so much, On, because I really want to make it easier to access and speak to people that are in the United Kingdom, because I love the people over there in the UK, right? And different parts of the world, you know what I mean? But yeah. Camilla us definitely divides, says La Verga. That's your opinion. Felicia Patterson says something about a person are hidden. They just haven't come to the surface. That's true. That's true. Hello from France. Big up yourself, BB bro. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. Who even cares anymore, says George Castillo. I'm learning English just by watching your streams. Just very cool. Hello from Brazil. Big up, Guillermo. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That is a high compliment. I do appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And any way that I can help, you know, I'm glad to help. Thank you. Felicia Patterson says, amen. Trump gonna win. Good to see you, says Good Clean Advice. We'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see about it. He definitely has the media for sure, but you know, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that he's going to win. He definitely ain't got my vote, to be honest with you. He don't got my vote. I'm not voting for Trump. There's no way you're ever gonna catch me voting for that guy. Ever. Right? And I don't hate him. That's the crazy part about it. But I don't like the way how he goes about dividing people. I think I just don't hate him because I'm not that hateful of a person. You know what I mean? I don't want to go around with baggages having hate for people, especially haven't met the guy, but a lot of the things that he's done, a lot of things that he said, it's just like, nah, that's not a president. That's not somebody that I want representing me. I don't think he's that intelligent, to be honest with you. And I think he kind of has this aura of just aggression, right? And I don't think leaders, you know, if you're a leader and you need to get aggressive, that's different, right? But you're not a leader walking around just being aggressive. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't agree with what's been happening, especially with people making attempts on his life. But I think we're going to have to deal with a lot of that if he does become president. You know what I mean? I think he stepped on a lot of people's toes, if I'm completely honest with you. He should have known they were watching him, says Felicia Patterson. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. How much time do you think Adams is going to get, says Bruce. Yo, Bruce, I don't know, man. I don't know. When it comes, I'm going to say, right, and I don't have any proof. I don't know what code they go by, but I'm going to say he gets in excess of 7 years. The first thing that came to my mind was 15. So I'm going to say maybe between 7 and 15. Because these are white collar crimes, but at the same time, it's like he was also speaking to external governments, right? So they're going to try to make an example out of him, not only speaking, but you know, getting funded from external governments. So yeah, they're not going to let that fly like that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I can't confirm that that's what he's going to get. Princess Lady, I'm doing well. How are you, Princess Lady? Hope you're having a really good day. Bruce Dandridge from Moultrie, Georgia. Big up yourself, Bruce from Georgia. iCloud, stop trolling. Thank you for getting rid of iCloud. I didn't see him, though. Sarah, I was just about to say the same thing. Okay, iCloud, we heard you. Now stop. Remember when they made car seat covers out of those beads? No. You are very handsome. You are handsome, says Suzette Royal. Oh, thank you. So, oh, you're talking about these. I actually purchased these not too long ago. I have a whole bunch of them here, but I'm not gonna really use the rest of those. I just kind of just wanted one right here and just like a few of them, right? I'm not gonna, the rest of them, I'm not gonna use. Only if anything kind of happens to these, then I'll just take it out, replace it. But for the most part, no. I just think the way the lady kind of parted my hair initially when I got it locked was just a little too thin for me. So my hair naturally wants to coil up with the other hair close to it. So, you know, it naturally wants to be thick. So that's kind of why I got this, so that whenever I do kind of, you know, twist it so that it could grow together as one, I just keep it together with this, right? So that's why I got it. My friend Drew faces on his beads. What? No, no, I'm not drawing. I'm not gonna draw anything. I'm quite tired recently. I think I'm getting a flu or something, but I'm doing okay. Otherwise, thanks for asking. Glad you're well, Princess Lady. You know, Sarah, I have these fermented garlics that I kind of fermented in honey, that I take from time to time whenever I feel like I'm kind of getting a little ill or something like that. You know, the antibacterial properties of honey and garlic, you know, it kind of helps you if you're feeling like you're getting a cold or whatever it is. Suzette Royal says, are you Jamaican? I am. Yes, I am. Try lemonade honey, hun. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Lemonade and honey works as well. Orange peel, stuff like that. Of course, it's not medical advice, but you know, these things aren't going to hurt you if you do try it. So yeah. And you know, I would say ferment some garlic as well. I keep the fermented garlic. I gave some to my mom for her and her sisters. Gave some to a co-worker of mine, and it really helps with allergies too. Like if you have allergies and you take a scoop of that, oh my god, you don't need no Benadryl or any of that sort of stuff. You're welcome, Sarah. You're absolutely welcome. I'm gonna be here for another about 3 minutes or so, but I will be back later, guys. I'll be back probably, I want to say maybe around 11:30, if not midnight, right? Probably like around, let's give it midnight. I'll be back like around midnight. No problem, Sarah, no problem. Do you think people will come crawling when they know you have money? Princess Lady. I think people often do come crawling when they feel like you could do something for them. Money is one avenue, but if you have some sort of power or something like that, people do tend to try to come crawling, and they kind of show you like a fake face, right, in order to for you to do favor. Some people bend over backwards for you and stuff like that. And when you can't do anything for anyone, they kind of show you who they really are and what they really think of you, right? Because there's really no consequences in just treating you however. So I don't know, but you have, very rarely do you have people, and I would put myself in that category where it's like, I really don't care how much money you have or how much power you have, because I'm not a disrespectful person. I'm not going to disrespect somebody that's sleeping on the street. I'm not going to just blatantly disrespect them. I think there are times when people don't put themselves together, where you kind of like prejudge them or whatever it is, where people kind of seem dirty and stuff like that. I think stuff like that kind of, most people are just like, ew, get away. You know what I mean? But for the most part, we're all just human beings. So I pretty much treat everyone with the same level of respect, regardless of how much money they have or how much influence they have. And that's just that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get extra close to you because you got money, and you know, it's more about your vibe. You understand what I'm saying? If you're like a, you know, level-headed person, high vibrational person, you know, those are the type of people that I like being around. She said, that's why you are so handsome. I am too. Big up Suzette Royal. Peace, my brother, says Bruce Dandridge. Thank you so much, Bruce. So I got a letter saying I apparently won 2,085 pounds, 975 pennies. Well, congratulations. Look into that though. Make sure it's legitimate, and if it is, big congratulations. And yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it if it is your blessing. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go get back to work. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tapping in, tuning in. I will be back later on. But yeah, I gotta go. Let me read this last message. I know someone who's been alive and well. They've been ignoring me completely. I posted to see what they do that I won. My dad is always overly helpful and kind to everyone. So whenever a user comes along, I always remind him of their motives, but he still helps them anyway. See you later, everyone. Well, Sarah, that's another thing as well. If my heart doesn't tell me to really help that person, I'm just not going to do it. You understand what I'm saying? But if my heart tells me to do it, then I will. But whenever I think people are using me, forget it. But anyway, guys, I do thank you so much, each and every single one of you. One love to each and every single one of you. And I will see you guys later. Have a blessed day, everyone. Bye-bye.